What up, though? The Negro in the New World, or as I've said many times before, the American in America, or the American Indian in America, the Negro in the New World, the American Indian reclassified as the Negro. And for some reason, a lot of us accept it, but I don't really know if we accept it. When you think about it, when you was a shorty, well, when I was a shorty, my people never talked about or told me I was black or African American or Negro. They never told me that this soil is where we're from. It was assumed. And by assumed, I mean that we lived life. If you're from somewhere, it's no need to campaign that you from that place. I mean, the soil, not whatever neighborhood you from. So as far as us being from another landmass, this wasn't a thing. The Negro in the New World by Sir Harry H. Johnston, published in 1910. Chapter 21, Louisiana. Negro life in Louisiana at the present day is probably more like the old slavery times of the antebellum period than is the case with the other southern states. Though there are many towns and villages peopled exclusively by Negroes or peopled exclusively by American Indians, there do not seem to be, or I have not discovered them, Negro farmers or American farmers on a large scale as in Mississippi and Alabama. The general surface of the state of Louisiana, which is much more pleasing in appearance than gray, scrubby Mississippi, seems to be divided into large plantations and estates owned by white American people, or properly Anglo-Saxons or Caucasians or Afro-Eurasians. There is no such thing as a white. And just a note, white, Wight, means creature. There is no such thing as a white American or a European American. There is only one American. There is only one kind of American, and that is the people who are termed here as Negro, or properly American Indians. Seems to be divided into large plantations. Plantations, as we all know, are American Indian places where planting happens. And estates, now known as states. But at one time, these states were regions on this soil portion we call America. And they could also be said that they were separate countries or different countries, or, well, the point is that we're different. We are not a monolith. We come from different portions of what is termed North America. And today, We living on top of each other. And today, the narrative, the propaganda promotes that we don't get along, that niggas hate niggas. That may be the case. But see, we're all different. And to be placed on top of one another, like the sardine can slave ship propaganda, it causes problems. Just like when you got too many relatives coming to your house and they stay too long. It's like, okay, it's time to go. Seems to be divided into large plantation and estates owned by white American people, or properly Anglo-Saxons or Caucasians or Afro-Eurasians, and worked by Negroes or American Indians as hired laborers or tenants. Are you a hired laborer or tenant? Are you a hired worker, employee, and or tenant? Or small holdings in the possession of French Creoles or Acadian Spaniards of ancient establishment, or Italians recently arrived? A vast deal of employment. A vast deal of employment. However, is given to the colored labor, is given to the American Indian labor on the levees of the Mississippi and the railways, canals, wharves, and other public works of the state. Apparently, the colored people of Louisiana, apparently, the American Indians of Louisiana are exceedingly prosperous, but they strike one as being of a lower class intellectually than those of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. And mind you, when the author speaks of the Louisiana people, the Louisiana Indians, as exceedingly prosperous, but they strike one as being of a lower class intellectually than those of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, they're speaking of the people who they came in contact with. If they never came in contact with you, then how would they know you? Just like when they describe your complexion, they only describe the complexion of the people who they came in contact with. Let me ask you a question. How many Anglo-Saxons did you come in contact with as a shorty? Let's shake it. They are more definitely Negro, often very illiterate, and the mulattoes or octoroon class is not so obvious as in the other southern or eastern states. They are more definitely American Indian. And when they say they are more definitely Negro, again, we've been over this. What do they mean? They mean complexion, facial features, hair texture, countenance, agreeability. The women of this, again, they are more definitely Negro, often very illiterate. And when they say very illiterate, let me ask you, the one following along right now with the show, why would you need to be able to read if you're self-sufficient? If you have a water source, if you plant, if you grow your own food, if you hunt, if you fish, if you wear all the beautiful elements of the planet on the body, if you make your own clothes, if you build your own dwellings, if you harness the power of fire, why would you need to know how to read a fucking book? Louisiana, of course, has been founded as a European colony by the French at the close of the 17th century or the 1600s, but it was afterwards ceded to Spain, together with its aspirations for a vast northwestern hinterland. And the Spaniards left their impress on the coast country to a very marked degree. They imported hundreds, even thousands of Spanish convicts, mainly from the Canary Islands. Where are the Canary Islands located? We're talking Louisiana right now. We're speaking of Louisiana Indians, and the Spaniards left their impress on the coast country to a very marked degree. Listen, they imported hundreds, even thousands of Spanish convicts, mainly from the Canary Islands. This what you up against. To a certain limited extent, both the French and the Spanish mingled with their Negro slaves, the Spanish and French mingled with their American Indian workers. The French crossbreeds have very largely died out or gone elsewhere, but there are still colonies of Negroes. There are still colonies of American Indians in the southwest coastlands of Louisiana. That are tinged with Spanish blood. What is Spanish blood? With blood from the Spanish. A couple. Do you buy the narrative of foreigners coming here and mating with the indigenous people, with your family members? How many times in your neighborhoods did foreigners move in and just start mating with your people? They cannot be regarded as a permanent element in field culture. And it is probable, therefore, that the sugar and rice planters in Louisiana will never be able to afford to part with the invaluable labor of the Negroes or the invaluable labor of the American Indians, of course, because this is your soil portion. You need it and it needs you. No one else can align with it like you do. In these old time plantation houses, the service and the cooking of the colored people are perfection. In these old time plantation houses, the service and the cooking of the American people are perfection. The field work in the vast plantations of sugarcane is also mainly in the hands of Negro men, women, and children, or properly American Indian men, women, and children who toil for good wages, under the supervision of Negro and white overseers, or of American Indian and white overseers. The field work, let's put this into perspective. Let's do the knowledge. The field work in the vast plantations of sugarcane is also mainly in the hands of American Indian men, women, and children who toil for good wages under the supervision of American Indians and Anglo-Saxon overseers. So it's people working and their managers are American Indians and also Anglo-Saxons, which means what? Which means they got along to a certain degree. I told you, not all people was at each other's throat, but the American Indians, reclassified as Negroes or colored or black or African American, will always treat the Anglo-Saxon as a foreigner and will never truly be comfortable with the Anglo-Saxon or Caucasian or Afro-Eurasian on their soil. For they are strangers. They are foreigners. They are intruders. That does not mean that we don't get along with them. We don't need integration. We don't need desegregation, because when a human being has the opportunity to get to know someone, they get to know the people who they want to get to know. They don't need you to push them to get to know someone, i.e., the civil rights movement and such. And through all this cycle, with its varying cares and responsibilities, Negro labor, American Indian labor, seems to be the one unfailing resource of the Louisiana planter. The white men, the Anglo-Saxon men, the Caucasian men have strikes, are called away by higher ambitions, or are stricken by occasional epidemics of disease. Why wouldn't they be stricken by occasional epidemics of disease? This is not their soil portion. They will have all manner of problems. And how do they remedy the occasional epidemics of disease? They poke and prod you with chemical cocktails so that not only they experience occasional epidemics of disease, but so you can as well. The Negro is there all the time. The American is there all the time. He is a spendthrift, yet loves to have money to spend. A nigga love to have paper in his pocket, right? There are the sugar or the rice planters and the fruit growers, the railway companies, builders, and shipping firms, always ready with work at good wages. The Italians, Hungarians, and Slaves, Slavic people. The Italians, Hungarians, and Slavs save and often transmit to Europe the payment for their labor. See? It ain't just you laboring. It ain't just you employed. It ain't just you working, laboring, slaving. It's also the people who the word slave historically was in reference to, the Slavs. The Italians, Hungarians, and Slavs save and often transmit to Europe, their homeland, the payment for their labor. The Negro is at home. Did you hear me? Subtropical, the South, the South, subtropical, what is termed North America, you know, the South, the Negro, the African American, the black, the colored, the American Indian is at home and spends his money locally as soon as he earns it. Great indeed is the debt which the industrial and agricultural South owes to the cooperation of the Negro. Do the right thing.